Hello, welcome to my channel. I am a budget mama based in the UK and my little family of 3 is working to a cash budget to help us keep control of our finances. Today's video I will be stuffing our weekly cash envelopes. This is the money that we spend on a weekly basis and it covers everything from food to petrol to a few miscellaneous bits and bobs. We've got £170 going into our cash envelopes this week. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. This is a figure that we are comfortable spending every week. However, I have messed up. So in previous weeks, I have kept our refresh day the same each week, even though payday changes month to month. So my weekly income is paid on a Friday every single week, but my husband's income is paid on the 15th of the month. So as I say, I've kept the refresh date for our weekly budget the same, and that's been fine. So if one month he's paid on the Tuesday and the next month he's paid on the Wednesday or the Thursday, that 2-day difference has not been a big deal. However, we have currently spent what we allow each month for our weekly cash envelopes, and my husband's not going to be paid for another 6 days. So we're having to kind of shoehorn an extra week's worth of cash envelopes into this month. So it's going to be a 5-week month, which means we're technically not screwed. It just means that this money is coming out of what we would normally put into our long-term savings accounts at the end of the month. If we didn't have that buffer, we would be struggling right now. So just kind of, I could have glossed over this. I could have just ignored it and carried on like nothing had happened, but I've made a mistake. I have carried on willy-nilly without kind of accounting for the fact that there are going to be some months when we have like an extra week in the month, and we've not been allowing for that. So I think what I'm going to do when we get paid, I'm going to figure out what our monthly budget is for the cash envelopes, and I'm going to translate that into a weekly budget. So it's going to be a little bit less, but it's going to allow us to cover those months where we have like 5 full months. The cat is playing Kaplunk again. I swear, he waits for me to start recording and then he starts eating his dinner. Thanks, buds. So that is the plan. Hopefully from next payday we will not have this issue again. But the long-term savings, yes, it is disappointing that we won't be able to pay into them, but it's not the end of the world if we don't pay them into them this month. So yeah, I just wanted to be completely transparent with you and own up to the fact that I have messed up. So we've got 170 going in, but the first thing we need to do is take everything out from last week. Food, I allowed £30 and we actually stuck to it. I'm pretty happy with that, because we only did one shop. We've not really done any food shopping since, and we have managed to stick to that £30. There's like 90p left. Petrol went into the car. I think we've got about 1/4 of a tank left. I might reduce how much I put into petrol because we don't need a full tank to last us until payday. So self-care, we've got £5.46 left. Clothing, I broke into our clothing fund. It didn't go on clothing. I'm a bad lady. We actually spent it on, sorry, there was a fibre over there. We actually spent it on stuff for the garden. So I picked up a couple of reduced raspberry plants from the shop. They're not going to flower and fruit this year because they're looking a little bit sorry for themselves, but I've planted them. I got a nice planter for them to go with the bench that I bought last week. It just gives me a nice space to sit. I've got my raspberry canes on one side, and then I've got our big sunflowers that have just started flowering on the other side. And it gives me a nice little space to sit and read and have a coffee and stuff in the morning. But we did need a planter for them, and I dipped into the clothing fund for that. I really shouldn't have, but we've kind of so the last couple of weeks, because we've been allowing ourselves to kind of overspend a little bit with both my husband and daughter having COVID, we've overspent a little bit on food and treats and other stuff, and we've dipped into other pots to kind of fund those treats. Excuse the noise, that is my cat now using the toilet. He's eaten, he's put more food in, it's now coming out. So yeah, we've kind of got out of the habit of budgeting and sticking to a budget because we've allowed ourselves that little bit of freedom, and we do find that it's very easy for us to kind of slip back into bad ways, because neither my husband nor myself naturally kind of stick to a budget and watch what we're spending and be kind of careful and cautious. We're both very spontaneous. If we weren't being so careful, if we weren't sticking to a budget, we'd probably put a holiday on the credit card tomorrow and, you know, go to the shop and buy all new holiday clothes and just have a darn good time and worry about it later, you know. But we are trying to be more intentional and more cautious with our money, just so that we are in a better situation financially and there's less stress associated with money, because that was a big issue when we were in a lot of debt. We had a lot of stress related to money and worrying about money, and that just kind of the weight of all that money that you owed, that we found that a very stressful situation. And it meant that when we were paying £750 a month towards our debts, it became very demoralising, because you're putting that money aside and you're not getting anything for it, you're just paying down your debt. So watching the savings build up is a lot more rewarding for us than watching the debt kind of reduce. But because we've kind of got out of the habit of being careful, we have been a little bit naughty with our money this week. So we now need to get back into the habit of being careful and intentional and kind of sticking to each individual budget, because although we have a weekly cash budget, each of these little envelopes is like a little mini budget. So we have a £10 budget for anything the cat needs. We have a £10 budget for anything miscellaneous. We have, granted the clothes build up over time, but we put 20 towards clothes. We've got £10 for self-care. And when we kind of creep outside of those mini budgets, that's when we start to see the overall budget suffer. And we can't put as much into savings, and we don't find it as motivational because we're not saving as much as we could. So anyway, the pet fund has, what, 50 odd p in it, 55p I think. Come out, there we go. So we've got a few notes, which is good. And we've got a little tray of change. So there's, oh, should have left that under the cash, under the coins. Stay. So there is money left, which is better than there being nothing. So it's better than it could have been, but again, it's another week where I kind of felt like I've let myself down a little bit. So food, I'm back to cycling it, so we are putting 40 into the food fund this week because we put 30 in last week. So we've got 10, 20, 30, 40. And that is going into our food budget. We still have a lot of food left from our Rogers haul, so we shouldn't need to spend as much on our food budget this week. Or let's face it, for a few months. If you saw my Rogers haul a couple of videos ago, you'll see just how much food we got. A lot of it was kind of junky stuff, so snacks and drinks and things like that. But there were some pantry staples, so that's going to help with our food budget. The car is getting, what did I say? Let's come back to the petrol. We'll come back to the petrol because I don't think we need a full tank. Personal care, we're just putting 10 in. And I'm going to try my hardest to actually stick to that budget this week. Clothing we need to put 20 into because I have wiped out our clothing budgets, which was very naughty. But I'll take a photo and put a picture of the planter. It looks very nice. I've got a little seating area and it's a nice quiet place to sit and watch my daughter if she's in the garden, or if I get up early or my husband's watching her first thing in the morning, I can go out and have just a little relax with a cup of coffee, and it gives me that little 5-10 minutes of me time that I have been so craving the last few weeks. Miscellaneous we are putting 10 into. This just covers anything that isn't covered by any other envelope, and that has served, the £10 has served as well so far. £10 goes into the pet fund. Oops. And this just covers food and treats and litter for our cat. So the last one, the only one we haven't paid into, is the car. Now, I would normally put £70, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So we've got 80 left because we've only put 40 into the food budget, and our full food budget would be £50. So that extra 10 is going straight into savings. We would normally put the last £70 into petrol, but we don't have a full week until payday. We've only got 6 days, and we do have about a quarter of a tank left. We've got a day trip on Friday, which is like a belated birthday day trip for my husband, because we weren't really able to do anything on his birthday because, you know, COVID. So we're doing a belated day trip on Friday. We're just going to go to an aquarium. My daughter wants to see sharks because we've watched a lot of Finding Nemo and Finding Dory the last few weeks, especially on the days when she's been very under the weather and hasn't really wanted to do anything else. So I think maybe 50 could go into the car. I think that would get us to payday. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I might add £10 to miscellaneous just as a bit of a buffer that can go towards petrol if we need it. I'm sure we'll be fine, but I would hate to have to like dip into savings to put more money in the car. So that leaves us with £20 going straight into savings, plus whatever we had left over this week. Last week, not this week. So that is everything paid into, so that can all go over there. So we've got 10, 20, and then my dish from that came out from last week. This £5 is not behaving. It's been folded up. Ugh, it's just going to annoy me. So we've got 35. That 5 is not behaving at all. 6, 7, 8, 38, 16 to go into savings. So I think... So we've got 2 savings challenges on the go at the moment. We've got the weekly envelope challenge, which is coming along really well. I think I'm going to do a little video where I kind of condense everything from my smaller envelopes and kind of fill up those biggest envelopes just to kind of speed up completing that as quick as possible. because my plan is to hopefully have this completed by the end of the year, so I can then do a refresh in the new year and just start these challenges when you're supposed to. I mean, I started mine in, I think June I started doing these videos. It would be interesting to see if we started at the beginning of the year, how long through the year it took us to actually complete this. And I might be able to then do another mini challenge towards the end of the year, maybe save up for Christmas or something. And then we've got our penny challenge, which it looks better than it is. Because I've got a lot of the small boxes filled. Got some of the big ones filled, but not many. So it's, I think last count, where were we up to? We were up to 145. So we're like a third of the way, no, we're about a quarter of the way through, something like that. Which is not bad, but I'm basically going to get as far as I can by the end of the year, and then I'm going to reset both challenges in the new year. So I'm thinking if I put 36 in, fill up number 36, that'll take my notes and my pound, and then I've got 216p. It's only one square getting filled, but I did really well last week with my savings, so I'm not feeling deflated that I'm not paying a huge amount in. And the fact that there's 36 going into my weekly challenge, that is fantastic. So 216. So 216 in my penny challenge, and making a mess, and 36 in my weekly challenge. Fantastic. So where's my envelope? So looking at these, I think we're less than halfway through. I think we're maybe a third of the way through here, but there are a lot of small envelopes that have not been. Oh, do I do some of the small ones? No, I've already coloured it in. I can't change my mind now. And I'm going to condense them. So 36 is what I said. Yeah, I'm going to condense them in another video, so that'll be fine. So 36 going into my envelope. And these are all my filled ones, which, yeah, on their own don't feel as good as they do when you stack them next to the others. Oh no, that's because I missed my red ones. I was thinking that doesn't feel like a very big stack. So that's my weekly envelope challenge done, and then we've just got 216 pennies going into Toothless. So that is Toothless Bed, weekly envelope challenge done. Cash envelopes paid into for the week. So that is everything, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to think of ideas to kind of make my videos more interesting. I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again, and I do understand that that is the purpose of my videos. It's just kind of giving you a little insight into our budget and what we pay our money towards, how our savings challenges are coming along. But if there is anything that you would like to see in my videos, or maybe any questions that you have for me that you'd like me to answer, do let me know, because I want to make my videos interesting and entertaining as well as kind of informative. If you are new, thank you so much for finding me. Do consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell, and that way you'll be able to catch up with me in future videos. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I am so grateful for you watching my videos. And if you're one of the regular viewers that likes my videos and comments on them and starts that little bit of a conversation with me, thank you so much. I see the same names cropping up again and again, and I'm always so happy to hear from you. I like starting that little bit of a conversation, and it shows me that I'm actually making this content for people to watch, not just to kind of go on the internet and get lost in the noise, you know? So I will catch up with you in the next video, guys. Take care and happy budgeting.